Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, The Wheel of Reading. My name is Celeste and today I'm going to be doing my August wrap up. So I finished 31 books in August. I know, I really don't know what happened. And I also DNF'd 3 books. I DNF'd Harrow the Ninth pretty fast, so I have an hour into the audiobook, so that wasn't a lot in. But the next 2 I DNF'd, I finished over 50%, or I DNF'd at an over 50%, so I DNF'd Twilight by Stepheny Meyer at 50%. Everyone was hyping up Twilight and I felt like reading it. I read it when I was 12 years old and didn't like it at the time, so I really don't know why I thought I would like it now. But like, I put a poll on Twitter what I wanted to read as an ebook, and you guys voted for Twilight, but I just couldn't continue. Like, the first part was pretty good, her writing style was pretty good, but then the relationship started and I was just like, no, I can't read that relationship. That is such a harmful relationship, so I just can't read about that. I just can't. So that's why I DNF'd that at 50%. And then I DNF'd The Shadow of the Wind by zafon at 60%. And I'm really sad about that. I was so excited for this book. But I think I read this book at the wrong time. I wasn't feeling in the mood for something that wasn't pulling me in. I don't know. The writing style is pretty hard to read. It's pretty descriptive, and I was reading it as an ebook again, and I just didn't pull me in. I read for days nothing of the book, and I just wasn't pulling me in. I may pick it up on a later time when I've forgotten everything, and I will start again, maybe even with an audiobook or a physical copy. We'll see. But for now, it's definitely DNF. And I'm really sorry. I think it's a good book. I just think it was the wrong time for me to pick it up. So that's sad. Now let's get into the rest of the stats. So I've read 9 physical books this month, 20 audiobooks this month. I don't know what happened there. 2 ebooks and 4 NetGalley books. Yeah, ebooks. Twilight and The Shadow of the Wind were ebooks, and it both took me a long time to read those parts in them, so that's why there are only 2 this month. But I have 11 5-stars, 11 4-stars, 7 3-stars, 1 2-star, and 1 1-star. So I had really good reading month, quantity wise and quality wise. So I'm just really glad with the month of August. So the first book I listened to was an audiobook and a physical copy, and that's The Emperor of Gold by S.A Chakraborty. That's absolutely gorgeous. I bought the physical copies because I love this series so much. This was a 5 stars for me. This series is absolutely beautiful. It's gorgeous. The writing style of S.A Chakraborty is absolutely amazing. I will definitely read more of S.A Chakraborty because, oh my god, she writes such good books. I love the characters. I love Nori and Ollie, and the atmosphere is absolutely amazing. The battle scenes, I love this book. This is about Nori and Ollie series, and Nori is half, I always forget what they're called. I don't know. But Nori lives in Cairo and she gets taken by this man, Jin, that's the name, to Dagobah, and it's played in Dagobah, and it's a really good fantasy series. If you even like fantasy a little bit, definitely read the series. It's absolutely freaking amazing. So let's see, what's the next book? Then I physically read and Buddy Read with Jade from paperback to hardback. I read A Place Called Perfect by Helena Duggan. Oh, this lighting is pretty sharp. Wait a second. Oh, yes, that's better. By Helena Duggan. I gave this book 4 stars, I think. Yes, 4 stars. I read it physically. I really enjoyed it. It's my favorite. It's middle grade, and it's a buddy read. We're buddy reading the series. So this is about Violet, and she moves into this town called Perfect, and the only trouble is that everyone has to wear glasses. There's a little bit of fantasy in there, and it's just a really heartwarming story. And if you like middle grade, I would really recommend this book. Okay, next was an audiobook, and it's Deck of Omens by Christine Lynn Herman. I give this 4 stars. I really liked it. This is a sequel to The Devouring Grey, and I read The Devouring Grey and loved it too. It's a 4-star series, but I think the series is closed off for me. I don't know if it will continue with the rest of the series. I'm not sure. It's not like pulling me in. I like the stories apart, but together they're not really fitting in, I think. I don't know. And The Devouring Grey is about Violet, and she moves back into town for Paths, and she's one of the founders, and founders have powers, and there's a forest with a magical beast, and they have to defeat him in principle. So it's a pretty good story. It's not the best again, but it's really enjoyable, and if you like those kind of mystical / urban fantasy stories, I would really recommend it. Okay, then I physically read an arc, and it's the first ever arc I got. What is this? I don't know. Well, and it's Mayday by Josie Jaffrey, and it's the first in an urban fantasy, the Seekers series, and it's really enjoyable. I got another arc, and I really want to read that too, because I think her writing style is absolutely beautiful. The pacing was a little bit off in this book. That's why I'm giving it 4 stars and not 5 stars. But I loved the character. Jack Valentine is absolutely amazing. So this is about Jack Valentine, and Jack is a vampire, but they don't call it vampire. I'm looking up to what they call it. Do I have it here? No, it's a paranormal mystery. What is happening to this fucking lighting? Hell, does it help? No, it doesn't. What the hell? I really don't know right now. Maybe move it a bit. Does it help? I really don't know. I'm not a technicist. But it's really enjoying it. It's a mystery, and they have to find these murders, and Killian Drake is involved, and I just really enjoyed it. I really want to continue with the series. It's really good, enjoyable. If you love paranormal books, I would really recommend this book. Okay, next I listened to the audiobook of Gideon at Night. What the hell is happening to this lighting? I really don't like this lighting right now. Maybe this, I don't know. I'm sorry for the lighting. I don't know what's happening. Okay, then I listened to Gideon at Night by Tamsyn Muir. I give this 4 stars again. It was a reread. I wanted to reread this before I listened to the audiobook of Harrow at Night. Yeah, you know what my feelings on that. And this book Gideon, and she's from the 9th house, and she and Harrow go into this contest. And I tried to listen to Harrow tonight, and I could not. I DNF'd it. I don't know what happened. The POV was in first person, I think. I always got confused. And I could not connect with it. I could not. I don't know why. I didn't like it. I really, really did not like it. Wait a second. I'm gonna press pause and see if I can do something to better this lighting, because it's not working. Okay, yes, this is a bit better. Not a lot, but a bit better. Okay. So the next book I read was Physically, a lovely gift from Robbie from Auntie's Nose Stuck in the Back. And that's Deep Me Bryson Keller by Kevin Whye. And I absolutely love this book. 5 stars. It's amazing. This is about Bryson and Kai. And Bryson, before the start of the school year, he gets dared to date a new girl, a new person every single week. And there is the first person to ask you out at the beginning of the week, so Monday morning. You have to date that person. And if someone doesn't ask you out for 1 week, you lost it there. But it was never specifically said that it had to be a girl who asked him out. So 1 week, a boy asks him out, and it's fucking good. I would really recommend this book. I would. Next I read audiobook. 3 audiobooks there. Historical Highland romances. So there was Devil of the Highlands, Taming the Highlands Bride, and Hellion the Highlander. The Hellion and the Highlander by Lynsay Sands. It's in the same series. I love these little historical romances, especially if they're Highlander ones. It's just me loving them. I gave Devil of the Highlands 4 stars, Taming the Highland Bride 4 stars, and Hellion the Highlander 3 stars. I didn't enjoy the third one as much, but it's an enjoyable series. Never my favorite. I can't really say much about this actually, so I'm going to. Okay, next I've basically read a new favorite series of mine, and that's Orange Volume 1. I love this book. It's absolutely amazing. I fell in love with this. Trigger warnings with this one, really, because suicide attempt, self-harm a bit, so I would really look it up. This is about Naho, and she's beginning 11th grade, and before the school year starts, she gets a letter from future Naho, yeah, and in that letter states that she needs to save someone. She needs to save Kakeru, and it's an absolutely beautiful story. I would really recommend if you can read about these topics. Then Galathon started, organized by Brooke and Brooke. What am I happening with names? I've just been really flustered. So yay! By Brooke and Connor. Happening in November again, I think. So yeah, you should definitely follow them because it's a really good readathon. So I read for that was Gender Rebels, 50 Influential Cross-Dressers, Impersonators, Name Changers, and Game Changers by Anneka Harry. And it's exactly what that name says. It's a 4 stars, and I listened to it as an audiobook from Matt Gelly. But it's exactly what the name says. There's 50 stories about women who changed. They dress as a man because they wanted something and they took it and they could get it when they were dressed as a man, or just men who were born as women and wanted to be a man. And these stories are absolutely hard-hitting. I give this 4 stars because these stories were so short. They were really short. But the audiobook is really good because it has 4 different narrators, and narrators are so excited reading this. So I would really recommend that. The ending, I think that was published before the whole J.K. Rowling thing happened. It mentions her, and that's why I also am giving it 4 stars, because it just, I didn't really like that part. But the rest of the stories are really good. Then I read Idle Hands by Cassondra Windwalker. I gave this 4 stars also. It was also an audiobook from Nat Kelly. And this is about Allah, and her most called name is the Devil. And she helps people make decisions. So they follow Allah. She's like the narrator talking. And then we follow this woman who gets abused by their husband and leaves with their children. And it's their story in a way. Allah follows them and helps make decisions, but both ways lead to death in principle, or turn out wrong. So it's really enjoyable. It just wasn't the 5-star flair, but if you loved that description, definitely read it. Then I listened to the audiobook of The Marvel Magicians by Diana Saylor. I give this 3 stars. It's also from NetGalley and it's in middle grade. And it's about 11-year-old Matty Mulverwood, and they go to this circus. I think it's a circus, and magical things happen. And it's really interesting. It was a fun read, but I didn't really care about this one, sadly, and that's why I am giving it 3 stars and not more. It's a middle grade. It was fun, but nothing more. Then I read on ebook The Soldier's Lady by Susan Ditze, Janette Foreman, Gabrielle Meyer, and Lorna Silestad. And I gave this 3 books. This was from NetGalley. Also, it was my last book from Galley-a-thon. And sadly, I didn't really care. This book is 4 stories of people and of women who are at the front of war. And they meet these guys are literally just 4 love stories where they fall in love with guys, with soldiers. And the first one was fun, the second one was fun, and then I just got bored because they're different stories, but in principle they're the same. So that's why I am giving it 3 stars. Then I physically read Camp by L.C Rosen. I give this 5 stars. This is absolutely amazing. I didn't think it was going to be a new favorite, but I keep thinking about it. It's full of representation. It's about Randy, and he's gay, and he falls in love with. He's been going to the camp for a long time, and he's in love with this guy, but that guy only falls for jocks, and Randy isn't a jock. But this year, Randy decides to change up his look, a little bit of his personality to get that guy to fall in love with him. And I love the way his friends treat the way Randy is. I don't agree with you, but okay, if you want to do this, I will let you make your own mistakes, which I enjoy. It's a good way to handle these things, I think. So that's that. How many books? I have a lot of books left. How the hell am I going to talk about these all? I think I'm going to split this video in 2 parts. So we'll see. Then I physically read, again, wrong side on, Orange Volume 2. This is also absolutely amazing. I love this series. I don't know what to say more because I've said it already. This series, it's gorgeous. It's absolutely amazing, hard-hitting. I fell in love with the characters. Definitely read it. The art style is also absolutely gorgeous. Oh my god. I love it. So yeah, that's what I read. Where are we? Then I read my least favorite book of the month, or listened to the audiobook of my least favorite book of the month, and it's The Court of There my speech goes. The Court of Miracles by Cassondra. I give this 1 star. It was, I hated that book. It was so not good, and I don't know, it didn't give me what it said in the description. It was a Renaissance thingy, and I just don't know. I just didn't like it. I hardly believe that it should have been a sapphic romance and not a straight romance. And I know I'm not sapphic, but it just felt so much better as a sapphic romance than as a straight romance. I just don't know why the author didn't do that. I just didn't like it. Don't read it. It's not good. Then I listened to the audiobook of Shatter Me by Harrow, and I DNF'd this book physically 3 times before. I even got rid of the book. But Robbie from the Anna Snow Saga book loves this book, so I decided to give the audiobook a try. And I gave it 3 stars. I think physically the writing style doesn't mesh with me. And when I don't like writing style physically, I can't get into audiobook. I don't have that trouble as fast. So that's why I liked it this time more, but it isn't one of my favorites. This is about Juliet, and she isn't able to touch anyone or they'll die, and it's her story. She is in prison and or in confinement. I really don't really know. I'm not sure if I'll continue with the series, but we'll see if I'm ever in the mood to continue. Okay. Then I listened to the audiobook of The Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. I also give this book 3 stars. It wasn't my favorite again. I don't know why I didn't like it. It was such a hyped up book, but in the beginning I really liked Fitz. I love Fitz, and then I just, how further I got into the audiobooks, the more I didn't care about Fitz. And then the story was dragging, and I don't know, just didn't really like it. And I also don't know if I will continue with the series. It's just such hyped up books from Robin Hobb, so we'll see if I will ever continue. We'll see. Then I read the graphic novel on ebook of Blackbird, Volume 1 by Sam Humphries. And I really like this one. I give this 4 stars. It's about Nina Rodriguez, and she knows the magical world exists, but no one believes her. And when she was younger, she gets into this earthquake and she gets saved by this giant magical beast. And that's the premise of her like finding out again the world. And later on, her sister getting kidnapped by this giant magical beast. It's absolutely gorgeous. The art style too, so I would really recommend that. Then I physically read with the Bone Sticks, Loveless by Alice Oseman. I have read this before, obviously, on audiobook though, and then I bought the books, and I how do you say it? I don't know. I read this and I loved it again. Oh my god, I love this book so much. It's absolutely gorgeous. 5 out of 5 stars. This book represents me as a person, and I love it so much. I would really recommend to read this, and tell me if you do, even though I'm terrified of people reading it and not liking it, because it triggers me. So yeah, fun. Read it. It's absolutely gorgeous. Then I listened to the duology of the Stormcrow Rider. The Stormcrow and Crow Rider by Kelly Josephson. I give both of these books 4 stars. I really enjoy them. It's a fun story, fun fantasy story. It is about Antia, and she lives in a roe deer, and roe deer is attacked, and a lot of things die out. The crows die out, and just save roe deer, she needs to marry the crown prince of Elusia, and it's their story. And I think the first one not so much, but the second one has a lot of representation, so definitely read it. Then I read as an audiobook, or listened to as an audiobook, but only physical copies. The Selection, wrong one, The Selection, The Elite, and The One by Kira Katz. All are 5 stars. I love this series. It's amazing. I haven't continued with The Heir and the Crown, but this series is amazing. I love it. I've read this thing 6 times now, so yay. But I really enjoy this. You should definitely read these if you like this. And the lead, I think, is my favorite. It deals with a lot of things in this one. It has a pretty serious topic, so yeah, definitely read it. They're pretty good. I know not a lot of people like these, but I really enjoy them. And then I listened to the audiobook. What the hell is happening here? Listen to the audiobook of The Deep by River Solomon. I gave this 3 stars. And the reason I give this 3 stars is because it's a 2.5 hour audiobook. And for the first hour, I was so confused. And I didn't know what was happening, and I didn't understand, and I felt really dumb in that book. But that's why I'm giving it 3 stars. I may reread it and may love it more in the future, hopefully. I think it's a really good book. It just wasn't for me, or it wasn't for the audiobook wasn't for me. I think maybe physically reading it in the future would help a lot. Then, oh, I listened to a new favorite book, and that's Greybearer by Jordan Ifuko. This book is absolutely amazing. 5 stars. Oh, I couldn't stop reading it. I need the sequel right now. I'm too tall, you know? Like, oh my, I always have to stand like with bended knees because I'm too tall. Yay, that's so fun. I don't want to be tall. Okay, Greybearer. It's absolutely a gorgeous book. I love it so much. It's absolutely amazing. This is about Darisai, and she lives in the house, and the lady is her mother, and she doesn't get to see her mother a lot. But her mother sends her on a mission to become a Greybearer, and that means that she needs to be on the Princess Council of 11. And when she is in that council, she needs to kill a prince. And she doesn't really have a choice because of her father. So it's so interesting. You should definitely read it. It's really good. Then another new favorite. Whew, I read a few new favorites this month. Is House of Blood and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. Ooh, Sarah J. Maas. This book is absolutely gorgeous. It's such a good book. I read this book in 6 days. Oh my god, it's an 900 page book, and it's really good. I think this is definitely my favorite book of Sarah J. Maas. I've read a few, so yeah, I can say that's my favorite book so far. And this is about Bryce, and she's half elf, and Hunt Attalor, and he's a fallen angel. And I can't say much more because I don't want to spoil it. I think you should like go into this not knowing a lot. But a lot of people have been saying this is info dumpy, and I don't think it is. The first 200 pages are slower than the rest of the book because the rest of the book flies, literally flies by. But I don't think it's so damn info dumpy. I really don't think so. So maybe that's my opinion. Okay, then I listened to the Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, and it was 2 stars. I sadly didn't like it. I didn't care about the characters. I didn't care what happened to them. I just pushed myself through the audiobook because I did not want to DNF another book. And sadly, I'm giving it 2 stars. I just didn't enjoy it. It's about Patroclus and Achilles, and I didn't enjoy it, sadly. So the last book I read in August was Vicious by V.E. Schwab. I gave this book 3 stars, and I'm sad because it was such a high book and I really expected to love it because I loved other V.E. Schwab books or Victoria Schwab books. And this is about Victor and Eli, and it is in the past and the future. And the past is where they find out they have to have a near-death experience to get magical abilities. And in the future, Victor has just gotten out of prison and he wants revenge on Eli. It sounds so interesting, but the characters are really disconnected from their emotions, and then I was disconnected from the characters, which is sad because it's an absolutely amazing book. I just couldn't connect with it, and that's why I'm giving it 3 stars. Oh my god, I think I've been talking for half an hour right now. Ooh. Okay, so this was my video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe down below and click that little bell button to know if I post another video. I post twice a week, so yay! And if you did like this video, comment down below all the books you've read or the books you want to read because I want to know. And what you've read in August, please let me know. And I will see you guys next time.
No one knows just what to say.